What up, my Night Guy family? Hope y'all are well, and I hope y'all are ready for some awesome content tonight. I've been doing a little studying based on the recommendation of one of my followers on Facebook. She sent me a link to a page where the creator has some absolutely mind-boggling accounts. I may end up disclosing the page or the source in one of my lives, so make sure you check out my lives. Probably going to have one tonight around 11 or 12 o'clock. So be there so you don't miss out. Now tonight on Nightcap of Night God, we're going to talk about Antarctica underground super soldier labs. And as always, you know the drill. The information I present in my videos, I am not presenting as absolute fact. Also, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you get notified every time I post. Lastly, always remember that oftentimes truth can be stranger than fiction. So the source for this claim is a remote viewer, but she's also a professional when it comes to lab science. She states that she got a call to come down to a base in Antarctica, deep in the underground, under the ice, to inspect a lab. The reason being is because one of the super soldier hybrids escaped one of the regeneration tanks. They were supposed to be in a cryogenic stasis, but this one in particular hadn't fully set into the stasis. So he woke up, he smashed the high-grade glass, and he literally escaped. And when I say escaped, I want to clarify. It didn't escape the entire facility. It just happened to escape that lab. She said that this base was under the ice, that there are actual bases under the ice sheets in the ocean as well. There's numerous super soldier bases under Antarctica. The bases being located under the ice in the ocean aren't the only thing that make them hard to escape. It's the fact that they have electromagnetic energy fields surrounding them, protecting them. Now, I don't know if you've heard me talk about this prior, but if you watch my videos on the Buseji Mountain Secrets, they also were being protected by an electromagnetic energy field. The inner Earth is also protected by one of these as well. Now, they are pretty much impenetrable. They're almost like a Wakanda energy shield. So full-on escape is virtually impossible. But she said this being was pretty tall, 7 to 8 feet, green-gray skin, and he had hands that were claws. Basically, she's describing a reptilian-human hybrid. So where they sent her was the regeneration portion of the lab. I imagine after they create these beings, they have to run them through rigorous tests and then regenerate them back to health. Now, how she knew it was a male hybrid and how she knew what it looked like was because when she was being briefed, they had holograms that they could pull up all around the room in little pods, if you will, where they could actually create and display the hybrids in a hologram, which also sounds like what? The Buseji Mountain Secrets. If you remember me correctly, I stated that they had a table where they could push squares with pictures of animals and humans. And when they pushed 2 of these squares, it would project a hologram, full size, more or less life size, in the middle of the room, and it would pretty much have a combination of any type of hybrid you can think of. So basically, this means that these super soldier labs are extremely technologically advanced. They're like nothing, obviously, that have been displayed to the public per se, but basically kind of like what you see in the movies. Now back to the hybrid that escaped. He was actually bred for super speed and agility along with super strength. So basically, they can choose genetically which attributes they want each being to have, and upon birth, they will be genetically made up to have them. The way it was described is that this soldier was bred for the front lines of combat. So upon her arrival, the super soldier was still at large. He had made it to the underground tunnels, and they were currently looking for him. In the meantime, they gave her a tour of this massive underground lab. During her tour, she saw hundreds of these regeneration tanks, and they all generally had the same type of hybrid in them. Now, they had females as well, as I said before. And the females weren't much different from the males. They were tall, green-gray skin, claws for hands, super fast, super strong. She also got to see the chamber that had been broken out of. Now, why they called her in? They wanted her to reset the security protocols so that nobody or no super soldier could escape cryogen again. Not only that, they wanted her to inspect the lab as well to see if they could tighten up ship any better. So guys, just a little side note, what are we talking about here? We are talking about chimera, or more or less, they're just artificially created crosses of DNA from different species. Both the US and China have a history of practicing in crossbreeding or cross-creating hybrids. And it's not just the US and China. I imagine other superpowers have been dabbling in creating them as well. In the US, this dates as far back as the 1920s. They created the human Z. They would take a female ape embryo and they would inseminate it with a human male sperm. This lab was the Yerkes National Primate Research Center, and it was founded by Robert Yerkes, a psychologist and primatologist. The actual experiments were headed by Gordon Gallup Jr., who was an evolutionary psychologist. Now, rumor has it, they successfully created this human Z or chimpanzee-human hybrid. I just told you how they went about it. Another note to that, though, is that they always carried the hybrid in the female chimpanzee. They never used women to house this hybrid. Needless to say, just research it yourself. These experiments were successful. I mean, obviously, you can find articles saying that it never happened, but I guess it's up to you to decide. There's many articles explaining that it, in fact, did. These hybrids were described as walking on 2 feet, having human-like features, as well as a human-like intelligence. But it is said that at the same time, while they had these human features, they still had that animal instinct about them. The animal's speed, strength, comfortability in nature. There's also a rumor that these things were actually hyper-intelligent. They had the best of both worlds. They had the human mind, but also the animal instincts and strength and speed. It is rumored that they scrubbed the program because the lab techs actually began fearing them. But why would they fear them? Well, according to some, the lab techs claimed that they became so smart and so in tune with self because of the animal side and intelligent because of the human side that it seemed as if they could almost read your mind. They could always read your next move. It was described as if they were telepathic, that they could read your thoughts. Now, what this was based on, I'm not really sure. Were they really telepathic, or were there other reasons they could do this? Was it because they could actually read your mind, or was it because they had these high-grade animal instincts? They could literally see the mannerisms change, your vibe, your aura, even your smell. It's hard to say for sure, but they did scrub the program because of this. They literally began fearing them. If you think about it, guys, chimera date back to biblical days, even before that, the ancient Egyptian days. And I truly believe that they date back possibly hundreds of thousands of years. I believe every advanced civilization that has lived on this planet had known how to create chimera. And I believe we're possibly actively still creating chimera. You even see lions with human faces standing next to Jesus in old artwork. So this is really nothing new, but I will say these Antarctic experiments or these lab super soldiers, these have a little different ring to them, and I'm going to tell you why. They weren't necessarily crossed with just animals that were native to Earth. They were crossed with other beings, very interesting beings to say the least. Obviously, the green, it doesn't take a rocket scientist. They say that they cross them with reptilian bloodline. And not just reptilian bloodline, but they have DNA from dragonoid bloodlines as well. How it was described is they were experiments being done crossbreeding humans and extraterrestrials. And they would also genetically modify humans to become super soldiers. Now that would be more like Captain America. And the super soldiers that were purely human, just genetically modified, were nothing short of spectacular. They didn't necessarily have to be crossed with ETs to be great, just like Captain America. For example, some of their abilities. Some of them could go invis, others could manipulate the weather, they could manipulate water or Earth's elements, fire, earth, wind. Some of them could even manipulate electricity. Now they all had super fast reflexes and were exceptionally strong. They even had super soldiers that they crossbred with animals, that they could shapeshift into being a partial human or a partial animal. Wolves, tigers, etc. There really isn't much they aren't capable of. The regeneration tanks would build these hybrids and then they'd remain in the tanks until they were needed for a mission. So what's unique about these hybrids is the traits they take on. Each of them are different. The traits that showed or came out depended on the host. Some of them would have green scaly skin, some would have feathers, some would grow wings, while others didn't. Yeah, you heard me right. Some of them could literally fly. Now, the scaly exosuit is what they kind of called them, but they were a natural born armor. This armor could oftentimes stop bullets or deflect them. It would make them heat resistant or weather resistant. Other subjects even would grow horns out of their head. So the traits, they cover a large spectrum of different hybrid beings. Anyways, I hate to do this to you guys, but I hope you enjoyed it so far. I'm going to have to do a part 2 because this video is just getting too long. I'll probably post it tomorrow or for sure by the next day. So stay tuned. It gets very interesting. I'll give you a little taste. They even have different types of weapons for these hybrids. So make sure you tune in. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow or hit the notification bell so you get notified every time I post. And as I promised earlier in the video, I do plan on going live tonight for sure, hopefully by midnight, hopefully a little earlier actually. But make sure you all tune in because I want to get your opinion about all of these CEOs resigning at the moment. Curious as to what do you all think. So check it out. Stay in the light. Stay tuned. You know I always come with that fire. There's a lot more content I haven't even tapped into yet. So it's only going to get better from here. I got apparel coming. And check out my new membership program. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about that tonight as well. So thank you guys for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed. This is Nightcap with Night God, and I am out.